Hello, 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 beautiful people. Okay, so I'm going live during the day today. And I wonder if I should turn my camera the other way, but I'm just going to leave it the way it is. So, anyway, I'm here to share my journey with the intention of in me sharing my journey that this breast cancer journey, that I will be able to be a blessing to others, that I can help them through hard times in their lives, and just provide the things that's made a major difference while sharing my journey. So that's what I'm here for today. My name is Sherelle Thomas. I am a certified sex, love, and intimacy coach, and I am here just to share my journey so that I can be a blessing to others. So you can take what you can from my messages and hearing my story, and hopefully it can have a positive impact on you. I won't be before you long today, so I'm gonna make this kind of quick. Okay, so the last thing that we talked about is when they told me that I might have cancer. Fast forward to a week later, I ended up going to a Cancer Treatment Centers of America because I was kind of disturbed. Hi Cortez. But I was disturbed about how long I actually had to wait in order to get an answer. So I found a specific location, Cancer Treatment Centers of America, and they are very fast there. Like, they get things done, and it's a central hospital, but they have like everything that you need on the cancer journey to support you through that journey at that location, right? I have one in Zion, Illinois. And it is things like the doctors, oncologists, they have a doctor who you first see, when you go through the diagnosis. They do biopsies, mammograms, like everything that you will need, bone scans, all in one central location. Surgeons, plastic surgeons, even mental health. They have counselors, they have nutritionists, they have everything, like spiritual components, sex therapists, like everything that can be affected, they have it there at the Cancer Treatment Centers of America. So I ended up going there instead of going back to the breast center that I had originally went through. And it was actually my 39th birthday. I spent it there. And it was a lot of appointments back to back to back. I had to be there early. I think I had to be there like 8, and it's an hour and a half away from where I live. So anyway, I went, and I remember I had my sunflowers on. I had my sunflower backpack, my sunflower gym shoes. It was my birthday, so I had a birthday headpiece that I was wearing, as well as a birthday sash that I wore as well. And it was exactly what I needed in terms of support, like direction, them telling me, okay, you need this, you need that, yada, yada, yada. So when they got the results from my mammogram and ultrasound, the next step was to do the biopsy. They ended up scheduling me for a biopsy the same day that I went. And then it took 2 days later to get the results. Was it only the biopsy that I had? And I'll do a separate video on the biopsies. Since then, I've had 3 different biopsies, so I'll share that, and just the things that you need to know and prep for biopsies that make it easier. So that was that. I got my results Friday, March 24th, and I remember I was in the car, and I had been anticipating, like waiting on this phone call. I was actually driving, so the doctor called. I pulled over, and I actually had 3 days of appointments with them. I went on Wednesday, which was my birthday, Thursday, and then I had other appointments on Friday as well. But it was different things, like all of that stuff that I named. I had to. I also had orientation, let me know like what to expect, and the services that are available to me, the financial meeting, like all of that. So on Friday, I was driving. The doctor called. I called my mom on 3-way. My best friend from Pennsylvania was here. She had came into town on my actual birthday. And I remember pulling over Burger King parking lot, and the doctor told me, yes, it came back positive. You do have breast cancer. You have DCIS. And DCIS is a non-invasive breast cancer. And basically what it is, like this is a crystal. And it means that the cancer is inside of this, mass, but it haven't left out yet. So this is considered, the DCIS is considered, at first she told me stage 1, and then she was like, no, it's stage 0 because it hasn't came out. So, it's contained. We just need to get this out of your body. So it was a relief. Like, oh my gosh. Like this, it's, if I just get this removed, then, the cells haven't moved to other parts of my body. Like they say, like, this is the best kind of cancer to have. Some say it's precancerous stages. So what actually happens with DCIS, when it goes untreated, the cancer cells come outside of the mass, and then they go to different areas. And then now that's considered invasive cancer. So anyway, she was like, they'll call you on Monday for you to get in with the surgeon, and then we'll go from there. So fine and dandy, right? Now, I feel like the number one mistake that I made in all of this is I was dependent upon other people. Like, now the thing that has made the biggest difference for me is actually having a relationship with God, like strengthening my relationship with God. I'm not even gonna lie, I'm not even gonna front. Like, when I found out and found that this could be a possibility, like, I was mad with God. I was upset with God. I didn't want to talk to God. I didn't want to pray. I felt like praying just wasn't doing anything. And I kind of had resentment, like, how could you allow this to happen to me? So there was a lot of questions, there was a lot of emotions, all of that. Now, fast forward to now, the reason why I mentioned that is because it's my relationship with God that has given me strength now. Every day I wake up and I pray and I read my Bible. When I go to sleep, I pray. And I just visualize myself like just being in God's, arms, like God's helping me through. And this is another huge thing. Anytime I leave appointments now, back in the past, I always wanted someone to be there with me at my appointments. Those early on in my journey. So my mom and my aunt were with me on my birthday. The next day, my best friend was there with me at all of my appointments. And on Friday, she was also there with me. So, and then not only that, but everything that I was doing, as soon as I left the doctor's appointments, as soon as I left the treatment center, it was things of, I would call somebody. Like, I would call people to tell them what was going on. Not once did I stop and pray and talk to God. So I share that because after that, I got that call from, the doctor, and they officially diagnosed me. And then she, that's the way I just handled it or whatever. Like, got excited, told my mom about it, just started telling everybody about it who have been waiting patiently, to hear the results. And then that Monday, I just waited on them to call and schedule for my follow-up with the surgeon. I think I didn't get in to see the surgeon maybe until Thursday that week. It took a little bit longer than anticipated because she was only there certain days, something to that extent. I don't think I got in until that following Thursday, right? But with that being said, I really just wanted to share, like, the next video I'll share about, what actually happened when I actually got with the surgeon, just so y'all know it wasn't just DCIS. Like, I was like, quote unquote, like, misdiagnosed. I had to go through more testing and so on and so forth. And it wasn't misdiagnosed from a state of like malfunction or anything like that, but it was more so like, we need to research further into this because things are not adding up. And then they ended up finding out more. So I know wholeheartedly that the reason why I went through this again is because I did not handle it the way that I was, quote unquote, supposed to, or the best way for me in the beginning. Now, my previous video, I said that, it's very important to have support. Like, don't go through this on your own. And I stand by that. I still stay true to that. But on the flip side, the most important thing that made the biggest difference with me is inviting God in on this journey. I was embarrassed to tell God that, I had an issue with it. I was embarrassed to go to God and be mad and whatever. But that's where I was. And it wasn't until that resentment and that anger resided that I was able to see things from a different perspective and actually strengthen my relationship with God. So that the number one thing that made the biggest difference is having that relationship with God, talking to God after my appointments, not people, actually praying, actually just pausing. And this is something, whether you're going through breast cancer, a health challenge or not, troubles in your relationship, troubles with, your kids, like it doesn't matter what it is, what obstacle you're facing, make sure that you pause and take time to seek God first. And if you're mad and you upset, go to God and say that. Like, don't hold that in. And ask God for guidance, ask God for clarity, ask God for direction, and prioritize your relationship with God. Like, we are spiritual beings having a human experience. So for me, the beginning of this journey, it was a lot about human, it was a lot about physical. It was a lot about connecting with others. It was a lot about trying to borrow other people's energy instead of me going through my source. At the end of the day, before I'm anything else, I'm spiritual. And that goes for all of us, whether you want to believe it or not. So I had to get back to that spiritual essence and tapping into God and being, having that relationship. And you might call God, a different name, but whatever your divine connection is, make sure you stay connected with God or with your spiritual higher divine power. And that's just what I'm going to leave it at. But now, as I mentioned before, let me also share this, like the difference that I see it making. I have more peace. I've been terrified of death throughout this entire journey, entire process. I can't say that fear has completely subsided, but I feel totally different than what I did before. And I have more faith and me actually being healed and me actually being whole, and the treatments that I'm taking and that I'm getting ready to go through. Like, it's a different perspective. But the thing that made it different is me bringing God into the picture, me prioritizing God, me having that relationship with God, me praying to God, me taking the time to pray every single day. Like my connection, it's not just prayer in the morning and prayer at night, but it's all throughout the day. And when I leave appointments now, before I pick up my phone and tell anybody anything, I'm talking to God first. While I'm at my appointments, I'm talking to God first. That's my source. So that is what I just want to leave you guys with today. I know I'll be back later. I'm about to go and have a procedure. I'm having my chemo port put in. And I don't know how I'll be after the anesthesia or whatever, but if I'm up for it and I'm feeling good, hopefully, all goes well. I'm trusting and believing that all will go well. I'm trusting and believing that I will feel amazing. And then I'll be back on here later and I'll talk more about the different steps that I had to take. Like, once I met with the surgeon, the different things that I was feeling and experiencing, and leading all the way up to me getting surgery, because I have had a lumpectomy. I got the lump removed, as well as a bilateral breast lift. So I have had, and reconstruction. They took reduction and reconstruction. So they took some of the tissue out of my breast, made my breast a little bit smaller, but also lifted them at the same time, and removed the cancer. So I I'll share that in another video, but I am sending you all so much love today. And I just invite you, if you haven't, even if you have already, just stop and have a conversation with God. Like, even if you prayed already, even if you read your scriptures already, just pause and have a conversation with God wherever you are. And seek his guidance. Dwell in his peace. And the peace of God, which transcends all understanding, will guard your heart and your minds in Christ Jesus. Okay, so I'm going to leave you guys with that. I hope y'all have an amazing day, and I shall be back later.